Cruise news time, and well, I've got a pile of it, but probably the most significant story is we have a government blaming cruising for their environmental issues. And they go into pretty good detail why. We also have an announcement from Carnival Cruise Line about an itinerary change for several of its cruise ships. And well, they're going to use a cruise terminal to house asylum seekers. The decision has been made. That plus a whole lot more. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. Yes, it is Sunday the 22nd of January, 2023, and I just realized, looking at the calendar, that I am only 1 week away from my next cruise adventure. I've only been home for a week, and you would think, man, aren't you ready to stay at home for a bit? No, I already got the cruise blues. I am ready to pack up and head to New Orleans to jump on the NCL breakaway for a week of fun and frivolity with a whole bunch of cruisers, cruise content creators, cruise fans, cruise strangers. It's about that cruise life, baby. Whew, I'm hyped. I'm stoked. I'm excited already. But I guess we should process through the cruise news. Cruise news story number one. It's a biggie. I didn't even tease it. There's also a huge story about a smoking ban that will impact cruisers. But cruise news story number one, the New Zealand government, the biosecurity office there, has pointed their finger, their targets, their sights directly at the cruise business when it comes to environmental concerns, primarily around BioFoul. BioFoul is a term that is used for organisms that grow on the outside of cruise vessels, for example, that wreaks havoc with the ecosystem. And there are strict BioFoul rules in New Zealand, which means that ships traveling to New Zealand have to be inspected for BioFoul, and they're either going to be allowed or denied entry into New Zealand waters. And well, so far this year, 8 cruise ships have been denied. And the 8 ships that have been denied span across a bunch of different cruise lines. We've had the Queen Elizabeth, that's Cunard's ship, denied. Azamara Quest, denied. Seven Seas Explorer, denied. The Silver Whisperer, which is Silver Seas, denied. Pacific Explorer, P&O, denied. Coral Princess, denied. Viking Orion, Viking, denied. And the La Perouse. Is that a... Which cruise line is that? Paul Gauguin? I don't know. Somebody look up the La Perouse and see, but they've all been denied because of BioFoul. And well, one of the officers in the biosecurity office they're basically giving some reasons why he feels like the cruise ships aren't ready to sail into New Zealand waters. He identifies the layups of the cruise ship being a big deal. You know, we had that big shutdown, and a lot of these cruise ships are coming back from the layup. Another thing that he talks about is the inexperienced new to cruise personnel. Maybe we got some people coming on board those ships that don't really understand BioFoul. That's the suggestion of the biosecurity officer. And then number 3, the lack of availability for qualified divers. Yeah, you just got to clean the hull on these ships. You got to put divers in the water. You got to clean off the barnacles and the snails and whatever constitutes BioFoul. And well, the biosecurity officer there in New Zealand said that some cruise ships are just not getting it done. I honestly hope that with 8 ships being denied entry into New Zealand, that, the rest of the cruise lines will pay attention and get their hulls scrubbed before they go. We certainly didn't have any issue when we cruised to New Zealand on the MS Nordam. They had taken care of business every day. And so, yeah, I would assume that the negative examples that have been laid out by these 8 cruise ships will be a cautionary tale for other cruise ships trying to go to see the Kiwis. How about that? I hope they clean them hulls, because I get bummed out listening to governments complain about the cruise industry. Cruise news story number 2. Let's talk about a Caribbean cruise port celebrating its best day ever. Its best day ever when it comes to passenger count. We're talking about the lovely cruise port stop of St. Maarten. St. Maarten on January the 17th hosted 30,349 passengers and that was the largest single-day total ever for that cruise port. It took 6 whole cruise ships to get that amount of people to the island. Those ships include Royal Caribbean's Anthem of the Seas, P&O Arvia, the Celebrity Constellation, Royal Caribbean's Grandeur of the Seas, the MSC Seaside, and Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas. Think about that. You got the Anthem, and those are big cruise ships, dropping off a lot of people in St. Martin. It's one of the prettiest cruise ports. It's got one of the most interesting places to visit, Maho Beach. That's the famous beach where airplanes fly in close to your head while you're relaxing at the beach. And there's other things to do. Amazing shopping area in St. Martin, casino. There's a lot to do there. Congratulations, St. Martin, for your recovery and for your ability to get 30,000 people in one day into your town. How about that? Cruise news story number 3. One of MSC's newest cruise ships, they've got a propulsion issue. We are talking about the MSC Seascape. She just came into service last year, and well, this week she had a bad week. The MSC Seascape left Miami for a Western Caribbean cruise, made her way to Cozumel, Mexico, and when she went to leave Cozumel, Mexico, it was discovered that the ship could not get up to its normal cruising speed, and it caused the ship to be delayed going to Grand Cayman 4.5 hours. They could just barely get along to get to Grand Cayman. They were there 4.5 hours late, and it caused a cancellation of their next stop, Ocho Rios, in Jamaica. Now, I guess the good news in this scenario is it's not a mechanical issue with the engines. It is a software issue, and they've been working diligently to solve the problem. However, it doesn't seem that they got the problem solved yet. They limped their way to their own private island, Ocean Key, yesterday, and then made their way back to Miami this morning. I haven't seen whether the problem got fixed, whether the Seascape will be going on its normal itinerary for the next cruise, but they are providing some compensation for guests impacted. Pretty decent compensation, really. Guests are receiving a 50% cruise credit for the cost of their total cruise, and they're also receiving refunds for any missed excursions in Ocho Rios. So essentially, because of the propulsion issues, they got to visit most of the ports. They missed Ocho Rios and got a 50% refund of their cruise. That's not bad considering. Not bad considering. Hopefully they can figure out the issue with the software problem and they can get back up to regular cruising speed. Sometimes that's the thing with the fancy new whiz-bang technology. It gets complicated, and sometimes something simple like a software glitch can mess up the whole thing. But yeah, I trust that the engine builders and the people that built that ship will be able to figure it out. Cruise news story number 4 deals with a topic we talked about earlier this week, where New York City Mayor Eric Adams still talking about using cruise ships to house asylum seekers in New York City. There had been some pushback to that idea, and well, yesterday there was an announcement of a whole new way to use the cruise industry to help out with asylum seekers, and this one's happening. The Brooklyn Cruise Terminal has been allocated to house 1,000 men that are currently in a different shelter/hotel. 1,000 men, providing them with room and food and medical services and other services. They will be housed there for the near term. The cruise terminal will be used until the cruise business resumes at that terminal in the springtime. If you've been tracking along with it, you know that there's about 41,000 asylum seekers in New York City. It's a real problem for them. Their resources are strained, and so they're trying to pull as many levers as they can to accommodate all of those people. And they've been talking about possibly using cruise ships. Now it looks like they have found a way to use something from the cruise space, a cruise terminal. That seems reasonable. It seems more reasonable to me than a cruise ship, a big open space that they can do stuff with. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There you go, New York City. New York City! Now I've got 2 more big cruise news stories to talk about. Itinerary change for several Carnival Cruise Line cruise ships, and we got to talk about this smoking ban that will impact cruisers. But before I do that, let me quickly invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, well, Well, this is the cruise show, and that's the whole purpose of it, is to keep you up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, and also maybe to titillate your dramatic senses with some fun cruise stories. But at the heart of the show is the cruise news. So I would invite you to subscribe with the notification bell on. That way you can be a part of the crew, the notification squad, a part of the Loca fam, and stay up to date with everything that's going on in cruising. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe, notification bell. Thank you in advance. All right, let's talk about these Carnival Cruise Line itinerary changes. Passengers impacted on 6 Carnival cruise ships were sent an email on the 19th of January outlining several changes that would be impacting these 6 cruise ships starting now all the way to November 2025. Now, fortunately, the changes were, I would say, minor. There's some changes to the time that the cruise ship will debark from the embarkation port. Also, some changes to port schedules. The impacted cruise ships, the Carnival Dream, the Carnival Freedom, the Carnival Glory, the Carnival Sunshine, the Carnival Conquest, and the Carnival Liberty. So if you're a guest on any of those 6 cruise ships, you should have gotten an email on the 19th of January. Make sure you dig that out, check that out, because your itinerary has likely changed. The changes are varied and vast. I won't go through all of them here. I just wanted to call this out so that people impacted would be able to go and check it out. That's a question I have for you. Were you impacted? If so, how? Leave a comment below. And now let's talk about the smoking ban that has been enacted in Mexico. This took place on January the 15th. The most comprehensive tobacco control law in the Americas has been adopted by the Mexican government. It forbids smoking in public areas including beaches, resorts, patios, balconies, terraces, amusement parks, retail malls, public transportation, and entertainment venues, among many other places, like beach clubs. The regulation states that restaurants, bars, hotels, and entertainment centers can maintain their smoking-only area. However, they cannot offer any services in that smoking-only area, and those areas must be physically separated from other areas by at least 10 meters. So that's like close to 30 feet. I think the biggest impact to cruise passengers will be, like I mentioned earlier, beach clubs like Mr. Sancho's or Paradise Beach Club. I'm interested. It's been over a week since this was enacted. Anybody out there traveled to Cozumel or Costa Maya or any of the Mexican ports that are frequently visited, Mazatlan, any of those places that we go to? How has this smoking ban impacted cruisers? Are you a smoker? Did you have to not smoke at places that you usually smoked when you traveled to Cozumel? I would love to hear some info on that. Leave a comment below. Thanks so much for checking out the show today. I sure hope you enjoyed it. You can show that you enjoyed it by hitting the like button. And, well, look, it's really your only option, because if you do not hit the like button, I will be forced to punish you, and your punishment will be this. On your next date night with your significant other, or a date that you're having with somebody that you're courting or something like that, when you go to have that date, as soon as you meet your date, they're going to flag you for BioFoul. They're going to not interact with you at all because of your BioFoul. It could happen. Hopefully just a simple, it could happen. Let me just say that. You can avoid all that by hitting the like button. Make sure you check this video out next. It's the one that YouTube recommends. This is Tony for Lot Lido Loca, and until the next time, happy Sunday, everybody. I'll see you on the Lido.